Hey, Mariners fans, welcome back to another episode of Monday Mojo. My name is Max Schwabi. I'm here with my co-host, Christopher Silva, and our talented producer, Evan Barron, EPUP. And it looks like on the Zoom call today, he's called Baseline Barron. That's pretty cool. Before we hop into our 0-6 week, and for those of you that are listening, good for you, and thanks for listening. Do you guys want to talk about something other than baseball?
Please. I went to my big brother's cabin because he had a table for me that's still in the back of the car.
Where's your big brother's cabin?
It's in Hartstein, on the peninsula, kind of near Hood Canal-ish area. You go past Tacoma and keep going another like 40 minutes. It's a beautiful, beautiful spot. It's nice. Yeah. It's I really like that drive going over the Narrows Bridge.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it was good. But yeah, I got some of that stuff. I got a trash can too because I've just been using QFC paper bags, you know,
right.
like a homeless person. Speaking of homeless people, I got swung at Safeway. Did I tell you this?
Which Safeway?
The Safeway by my house where I just moved. I was all right. So I was already a little upset just because I was trying to put a kayak into my Subaru, into my car.
Nice.
And man, I was stupid. Okay. I was stupid. I tried shoving it. And like there was clearly no more room, nowhere else for it to go, except to attempt to go through the windshield. So I cracked the hell out of my windshield. Oh, dude, front and center, cracked, and it's spidering out right now. I'm just like, you got to be kidding me! I was pissed. I was mad. So I'm having a bad day, right?
Yeah.
Fast forward.
This is all today.
No. This is like earlier in the week. But then I'm at Safeway, like at the bread aisle, and I have my headphones in. I'm listening to music. I'm still pretty pissed off because I just cracked my windshield. I'm just in a bad mood, not happy. And I'm just like not really thinking about, I don't know. I was just like looking at bread and like had my mind like kind of wandering. And I see this like guy like walking like my way. You know, I'm at one end of the aisle, he's at the other. We're, you know, walking, you know, meet me in the middle, right? And he's kind of like looking weirdly at me, and I'm just like, whatever, I'm not going to give him the time of day. And like, I continue looking at the bread, and then like all of a sudden I feel like a whoosh, and I see like a fist like right next to my eye, but like barely in my vision. I'm like, did you just swing at me? And the guy's like mumbling. He's like, and I'm like, did you just fucking swing at me? And I was like just getting really upset. I ended up not doing anything, but like 2 minutes later, I saw him with security. They kicked him out. I like really regretted not hitting him back. Not hitting him. He never hit me, but just crazy crackheads, man, in Seattle. I'm telling you, it's insane. It's insane. But yeah,
I've had a couple run-ins with that. I mean, it happens in a big city, but
yeah,
wish it didn't.
I wish it didn't. No, but another fun thing, I went golfing twice this week. I got my buddy's Alex Bates' bachelor party coming up. And we're all going golfing. So, you know, I gotta, you know, swing some sticks right now. Get ready, make sure I look good in front of all the boys. You know how we do. You know, gotta golf well. You know, but went golfing with earlier in the week, and when I got there, I had money in my Venmo account, so I was just gonna have my buddy pay for me, and then I'd Venmo him the green fees for the round. And so I go into the clubhouse and I'm like, hey, what's up, my man? My two buddies are coming here, but I'm just gonna buy a bucket of balls right now. He's going to cover my green fee. And he's like, okay, sounds good. And I'm like, cool, easy money. I was like, also he's going to get me a push cart. He's like, oh, all right, sounds good. I was like, all right, so awesome. Glad we're on the same page. And I go hit my bucket of balls. Aaron, my buddy who I was golfing with, comes, and I see him coming down with the push cart. And he's like, man, I don't know what just happened, but we got a free round. And I'm like, what? And I'd called Aaron after I talked with the guy in the clubhouse, telling him like, you know, exactly what to say. And let him know you're paying for me. You're going to get the push cart, yada, yada, yada. And he comes down. He's like, yeah, I walked into the clubhouse and I told the guy, I was like, yeah, I'm here. My buddy Chris just came in, bought a bucket of balls, and he needs a push cart, and I'm going to cover his round. He's going to Venmo me. Said like exactly what I said. And the guy's like, I think somebody already paid for you guys. And Aaron's like, what? And he's like, yeah, it looks like it's all covered. And Aaron's like, okay. So he comes down, he's talking with me. He's like, did you pay for us? I was like, no. He's like, the guy thinks somebody paid. I was like, I definitely didn't pay. And Aaron's like, I definitely didn't pay. And Aaron's buddy Bryce was like, I definitely didn't pay. And we're just like, I'm like, what did you tell him, Aaron? And Aaron's like, I told him exactly what you told me to tell him. I don't know where this guy was getting confused. Like, we weren't upset. We were just like dumbfounded that this guy, like, in a span of 10 minutes, forgot what had happened. Nobody paid for us. It's like, I don't know.
Well, you got a free what?
I got a free round of golf, wow. Man. Yeah, it was tight.
Well, my weekend was eventful, I would say. I went to I arguably went to a concert last night.
You went to a concert? What kind?
It was.
What do you mean arguably?
It's like what, you know, the electronic like dubstep type music.
Like a rave.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't necessarily a rave, and that's why I was steering away from using that word because it wasn't. But at the same time, like the same vibes were there, right? It was at God, I don't even know. Oh, it was a late night show at Magnuson, and there were just two DJs.
Outdoors?
Yeah, outdoors. And it was I rolled up there and I just was like dumbfounded. It was like, damn, dude, this is the first legitimate, you know, event with so many people just like chill, just standing next to each other, dancing and whatnot.
Mask on, like, mask off?
No, mask off.
Oh,
mask off, man.
Mask off, but max on. You know what I'm saying?
Max on, dude.
Yes.
Yeah, Max was on last night.
Yeah, were you? You on one?
Yeah, I was on one. The other thing about I had some good luck this weekend too with getting out of the payment. We went to brunch with a couple of my friends, and I don't know if it was I think it was a genuine mistake because someone else took our drink order before she sat us down. But we got a few pitchers of mimosas, but didn't get charged for one of them.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Is that good karma?
How many pitchers?
A few. So a few meaning 3.
Okay. Some more pitchers than the Seattle Mariners have been using lately.
More pitchers than the amount of wins we got this week.
Dude, I don't want to be the one to say it, but I'm gonna be the one to say it because I kind of actually do want to be the one to say it. I was right. We did our predictions. We did our predictions, and I said we were going to get swept, trying to reverse the curse or whatever.
Oh, right.
What to call it? I tried to. What's the word I'm looking for here? I tried to jinx it in reverse.
Oh, right. I reverse jinx.
Reverse jinx. There we go.
Yeah.
It didn't work. We got double swept. It actually worked in the opposite way.
Yeah.
A double sweep. How sweep it ain't.
God, I hate it when you say that, and I hate it in this context even more. But it's kind of nice we can laugh about these things. But
it is.
Deep down, you know, we knew what we signed up for here. So
yes. But let's be clear that the San Diego Padres, you know, after we got swept by the Tigers,
right?
I'm like, all right, whatever. Let's just see what happens now. And I was really excited to just see Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah.
Because he's so good. And this series,
so filthy.
Dude, this series that he played against us, 7 for 10, Bandicoot 700, 7 for 10, 2 doubles, 3 dingers, one of which was a grand salami, 10 ribbies, 6 runs scored himself, 3 walks, 2 stolen bases with an OPS of 2.569. Absolutely stupidly incredible. And when he hit the first homer off of us that I saw early in the series, man, he pimped on it, and he looked at that thing, and then was it the one where he flipped his bat, or that was one today on Sunday? He likes to admire his work, which, you know, you should, as he should. You should admire your work 100%. But that guy's nasty. We suck right now. We just have so many guys like in the lineup that like they're just so young and like weren't supposed to be brought up yet. For example, like Donnie Walton playing second base for us. He's okay. When we were talking about the injury bug, it sounds literally like we have a different kind of bug that is a virus that happens to. Dude, why are we not getting vaccinated? This shouldn't be an issue. I don't know, man. We got it's. I have no clue. No one should be getting COVID on any baseball team. No, nobody should be getting COVID in general. Yeah, like at all. We're just past that. We're past right. Now it's just like you're an idiot. It's like, what the hell are you doing? Yeah, man. Everybody looks ridiculous. But yeah, dude, it's no excuse. It's like, get the freaking vaccine. We need more veteran leadership in the clubhouse, and we need more out of Seager or Haney to, you know, help these young guys like step up and be like, guys, like, this is ridiculous. You're missing games and these some of the guys, Duggar, I mean, he's basically fighting for a spot, and he got COVID. It's like, dude, you're fighting for a job right now, and you're not getting the vaccine, and you're gonna let COVID get in the way of your reps and turns on the mound. It's like you're acting like an idiot, and like I get it, like maybe they're like, oh, I don't want to be sick the next day, I don't want to be out that next day. It's like, well, you're gonna be out like twice. Like, I don't know how many days the rule is for when you get caught with COVID, but But in other news,
that's just silly, man. And at the same time, we're coming at you live this week after losing 6 straight. So, but I like, I mean, I don't know if this is a lesson well learned or it's frustrating. But we're here to report on the wins and losses, I guess, and
kind of
we're here to just tell it how it is, So,
well, we are, but I'm here to find that silver lining. You know what I'm saying, baby?
What's the silver lining this week?
Silver lining this season. Let's just go this season because
let's go week by week. Let's take week by week because
but my silver lining is gonna portray through everything. I want things to get as bad as possible. As bad as possible, because it's always darkest before the dawn, right? And so if we can have just a shit storm come brewing in and T-Mobile Park is the eye of that storm, and all hell breaks loose with tornadoes, and I'm not going to say COVID because that's the one thing I don't want. And also, I don't know, whatever happens in a negative way is going to continue to attribute to the eye of the storm in the perfect storm. George Clooney, great movie. George Clooney's a silver fox, by the way. Like let's be honest. George Clooney is the man.
George Clooney is the man, but I agree with Evan. Evan's shaking his head, and that's not necessarily a great movie. He's in different movies, but we can move past that.
No. We can come back to my analogy here. Evan, how dare you shake your head? And Max, how dare you agree that The Perfect Storm is not a good movie?
Chris,
I just feel like you always have an analogy on every episode, and it just goes in a different span. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I will say
I have ADD.
No, and that's fine. But well, if we're getting on this topic, I think your taste in movies might be a little bit bitter. Is what I would bitter. I think you have a bitter taste in movies. But I can't see. What I will do is send you guys my list of top movies because I objectively have phenomenal taste in film.
You love the word objectively, by the way.
Nuh-uh.
So like what's so Max, I mean, what's a movie in your top 5 that you consider a classic?
Well, Inglourious Bastard. Well, okay. Let me get to these. But yes, Shawshank is up there.
Yeah.
My personal favorite is Inglourious Bastards. A lot of people like Quentin Tarantino, as they should, but there's an unfortunate sample size out there that doesn't find his movies appealing, which is odd. Anyway, Inglourious Bastards is up there. One movie that I love is Jojo Rabbit.
Oh, I saw that. That was good.
It's a fantastic. It's like there's a couple dark points in the movie, but overall it's just kind of like a dark comedy. Made by the same guys that do that one vampire. Oh, what we do in the shadows, I think it is. Anyway, super clever. But if our listeners are interested in getting Max Schwabi's copy of Top Movies, you won't be disappointed. I can tell you that.
Put it on our Instagram. Put it like on the story or whatever, so they can see.
Yeah, I'm super curious. I've been on a movie kick lately. I got this TV service that basically is like a streaming. It's like the ultimate like streaming like service. Like you have access to every single TV show, every sports event going on, and every movie.
Not illegal.
Yeah, I'm not the one behind the scenes. I'm just the one paying for it. So
so you're paying for a service. Yeah.
But I'm gonna watch Jojo Rabbit, and
You should watch Jojo Rabbit. You
Yeah,
watch
you
it
should watch
tonight.
it, Chris.
I'll watch
In
tonight.
fact, I might watch. I might watch that tonight.
Oh, do you like to double dip a lot in movies?
Yeah. I mean, look, dude. Talk about the year 2020 when not shit came out in theaters, and you know, some directors tried to make it happen, and a few films came out here and there, but none of them worth like writing home for. So, you know, like as I expand, like as I watch movies, yeah, a lot of them are just going to be not as right. What for me, it's like watching movies is like chasing that high. When you watch a really good movie and you walk away from it and you're like, God damn, like I was so captivated for 2.5 hours by that film. And that's the beauty of film, right? But like some movies you watch and you're just like, wow, like this is not tickling my fancy.
Yeah, well, I got a question on a movie. What's your take on Spaceballs?
I mean,
Max, I want to know Max's take.
Dude, like this is what Evan and I are talking about. Like, I mean, look,
Chris knows my answer already. So.
I know Evan hates that movie.
No, it's a lowbrow film, but like you get it. I mean, it's kind of a classic.
It's a classic.
So, yeah, it is a classic, and you get a couple chuckles out of it. But like, I see. So I mean, take for example a movie like Spaceballs, and then you take for example like a movie like Inglourious Bastards or Full Metal Jacket or Ex Machina or Fargo or Hereditary or Jojo Rabbit, right? Like all these or Shawshank or No Country for Old Men, right? Like I can go on, and I will. But movies like that, they just if you're an enthusiast in film like I am, they just make your life a lot more manageable. Just the lessons in the stories. So I will say for listeners that don't know me yet, one of my hobbies is films, movies, motion pictures, feature films, and meditating.
As we discussed last week.
Yeah, exactly. And we can go into Max's hobbies as episodes arise. But yeah, Spaceballs, to answer your question, is a decent film. But
Spaceballs is a good movie. And back to speaking of balls, let's go back to baseball. Luis Torrens had a grand salami today. It's like when our guys get sent down, and Taylor Trammell is still absolutely raking on a 10-game hitting streak. He also hit a dinger today.
Yeah.
It's nice that our farm league is doing something to give us some positives to talk about.
Say that again.
Yeah.
It's nice our farm league is our farm system and
like Noelvi and Julio are still tearing it up in single A too, so it's pretty good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just like why can't we just have those things but at the next level? And it just goes to show, MLB, big league baseball is a different beast in and of itself. But to recap this week, we went 0-6. And this is gonna sting us. We went 0-6. We got no hit by the Tigers. But the world keeps on spinning, gentlemen.
Justin Dunn hit a double, an RBI double today.
He pitched well today too.
Yeah, except he only went 5 again. Okay. You know what? I hate how. Damn it! Did he only go 5 because we needed hitters?
I know where you're going with that, but I mean, Justin Dunn is a great pitcher and he's doing well, and I'm excited about him. But he I don't know. You can't the pitch count exactly. The pitch count. You can't give up almost as many walks as you do strikeouts. You just can't. That's got to stop. And when it does
was
stop,
moving, somewhat moving today, so I didn't catch
No,
the
sure.
game. So did he have a ton of walks today?
No, I mean he had 4 strikeouts and 3 walks. But even still, man, like that guy is so much more capable of sitting people down through.
Yeah, he just got to get that command under control.
Yeah.
You just got to get that command under control. No doubt.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and I think that'll happen. Well, you know what? I'm not sure what's going to happen anymore.
Dude, I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we're not supposed to make the playoffs this year, and that's okay. But it's like, damn, we expected y'all to not be good, but damn, this this is beating those expectations of really really low, like
It's
really low.
Look, we're still not. We're far from the worst team in baseball. I mean, we're acting like it, but we're 21-26. Or wait, is that 27 today?
No, we're 21-26.
21-26. It's not awful, but I mean, these 6 games really could have worked in our favor. And I guess we just didn't show up. Or no, you know what? We did show up. No, the people that got COVID didn't show up. We got to sit.
The bulk of it was our bullpen. It was like almost all of our bullpen. Not all of it, but almost all the people. I think all the people who got COVID were in the bullpen.
Yeah.
Or got exposed to it. They never said who actually got it.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Well,
yeah.
At the very least, we did bring on a guest this week. His name is Skylar Shibayama. He's a mutual friend of mine and apparently ours, Chris. Mickey Greenberg. Shout out to Mickey Greenberg. I'll make sure she listens to this episode.
I was about to ask, does Mickey listen to this?
Yeah, dude.
Thanks, Mickey.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks. I remember she listened to one episode and she texted me and she was like, wow, I don't know shit about baseball after all. And meanwhile, we're just kind of sitting around just talking shit on baseball. But it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's encouraging to hear that our listener, or like we're talking about things that some of our listeners might learn from.
Yes, the keys to media engagement or whatever. It's like education. It's to educate your listeners. It's to engage with them and entertain. That
is why we are so successful at what we do.
Yes. And speaking of, we're trying to get there, ladies and gentlemen. We are. And as we know, we're going to preach, tell your friends and friends and friends of friends, tell them all about the show, preach it, believe it, love it.
And honestly, what we would love to, if you follow us on Instagram, we would love you guys for you to DM us, talk about, or, bring up things that you want us to talk about, bring up things that, baseball or not. We're here every Sunday, recording on a Sunday and dropping on a Monday. So sorry, Chris. Anyway, the point that I was trying to make is we did bring on a guest this week. His name is Skylar Shibayama. He's a great guy. He's about our age. His title is the manager of data strategy within the Mariners organization. Much like a prior guest that we brought on, Jesse Smith, they work together in some capacity, but we talked with Skylar about, some of his roles and how it affects the decisions that the club makes, as far as, well, you're about to hear the interview, but what did we talk about basically, Chris and Evan?
I mean, we talked about you just kind of summed it up pretty much, diving into a little bit analytics. I brought up a question about the baseballs being different in the minor leagues than they are in the major leagues. We talked about everything going on in Chicago with the White Sox,
right? And
their fund manager, Mr. La Russa.
Did the White Sox get swept by the Yankees?
I got no clue, but old friend Google knows.
Yeah, I think they did get. I think they did get swept by the Yankees.
I think on a walk-off walk.
Yeah,
which is
Aaron Judge
today. Jeez.
Apparently, that's Aaron Judge's technically first walk-off. I don't want to say hit, but just being involved in a walk-off, which is kind of a shocker. I would think you'd have at least a couple walk-off home runs, but I learned that today.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Skylar Shibayama, he's a great guy, manager of data strategy. Give it a listen. How's it going?
Sweet. Good. How are you guys doing?
Good. Thanks for making time, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for helping out, Skylar.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, for sure. So to kick us off, you're a manager of data strategy at the Mariners.
Yeah.
What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I guess I started, kind of to take you through kind of what I've been doing with the Mariners. I started as an analytics intern in 2018, kind of doing a more traditional sabermetrics coding sort of thing. And then eventually transitioned into working downstairs in the clubhouse, doing advanced scouting work. So sort of helping our team prepare for the next opponent. Okay. And so kind of doing that, kind of bringing an analytical spin to that, working with more traditional scouting and coaching styles and kind of helping us, improve the quality of our reports and our preparation for the upcoming game. And so since then, I've kind of transitioned into more of kind of a, I guess, advisory role with respect to advanced scouting. So kind of continuing to help with our process there, building out a lot of infrastructure to help us prepare, kind of exporting that to the minor leagues as well. And then I'm also kind of helping out with some in-game strategy decisions on a day-to-day basis at the big league level.
So
broad takeaways I would say are like, in-game strategy, and kind of overseeing advanced scouting processes, and then also just kind of your traditional analytics type research projects.
Okay. So are you more closely working with scouts within the Mariners organization, or more, or is it a hybrid between that and Jesse Smith and Jerry DePoto? I mean, who is it that you work the closest with?
Yeah. So I work pretty closely with Jesse, kind of as part of the analytics group, and then also pretty closely with our advanced scouting group. So in particular in the major leagues, Sam Reinertson is our major league advanced scout. So, we're going back and forth each day. Also, various people in the process, kind of getting our players ready to go, making sure all of our coaches and players have the materials they need, to be best prepared for each game.
What do those conversations look like when you're going over those reports with the players or with Scott?
Yeah. So we have a number of different meetings, and mostly Sam is doing the player facing stuff in terms of detailing the next pitcher, certain hitters in the lineup, how we want to face hitters and that sort of thing. One part of the process that I'm pretty actively involved in is our bullpen management. So we'll have a call every day where we kind of go through different scenarios, detail who's ready, what certain matchups are that are favorable for us, and try to plan that out on a daily basis. And so it's very collaborative. It's a really cool process, something that's been a part of, I think, Scott as a manager. He's always done that, and we've kind of continued to refine that process. So it's pretty cool. Just getting a lot of different people in the room and sharing ideas and coming up with a good plan.
Well, we're working with the bullpen. Who saw Kendall Graveman doing what Kendall Graveman was doing?
Well, I think Kendall would say that he saw it coming. I think that was a hope. Certainly, you never know what's going to happen, I guess, when a player transitions to the bullpen, and this is kind of what you hope for, that the stuff will really play up. He'll have two at least really good pitches, and just start attacking guys. So that's been awesome to see.
Oh, you're referring to the 98-mile-per-hour sinker.
Yeah.
It helps when you throw a wipeout sinker and a wipeout slider. You can just do them both. So it makes you pretty valuable.
One of the things that we were talking about before you got on the call was our recent exposure to the injury bug, which Chris claims to be inevitable. And to some extent, I agree with that. But part of your job is not necessarily, of course, not foreseeing this kind of stuff, but when Dylan Moore gets put on the injured reserve or injury list, I mean, what kind of wrench does that put in your machine or your strategy?
Yeah, I mean, certainly it's a bummer just from a talent perspective. Anytime any player goes down, we've seen quite a few of them this year. That's just, you never want to see it. I think from a strategy perspective, usually it doesn't change things too much in terms of, preparing for the opponent. You're mostly doing it the same way you did before. But yeah, I mean, certainly this year across the league, a lot of injuries, coming in, and probably, what a lot of people would expect, just given kind of the aberrations in playing time and, weird COVID seasons and things like that. So yeah, I mean, definitely a huge bummer, something that we hope will resolve itself and we won't have as many IL players, in the coming months.
Go figure. Another thing that just happened, I think it might've been today, Chris, I don't know. And Evan, I don't know if this happened today, but, designating Marmo for, assignment. And what exactly did we do with Terens?
Yeah. So, not sure exactly what's out there right now, but yeah, I think Terens will be going down to AAA.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Which, I mean, when we got Terens, it was obviously from the Padres. When the Padres got him, they got him as a Rule 5 pick, and they like hardly played him, right? And so his development has kind of been scattered as is, and he hasn't really had a lengthy stint in AAA, right?
Yeah, and I would say that's true for a lot of our younger players, and true again across the league, just with shortened seasons and lack of minor league playing time. A lot of kind of distinct situations for a lot of these players that haven't necessarily had regular at bats at the AA and AAA level.
Yep.
I also wanted to ask, because you talked about how you kind of oversee you work with the farm system as well. And we have such a young crop of players and a lot of talent. But how, like, maybe you're not in charge of it, but how do you guys decide, like, hey, this person's ready to, move up from maybe single A to double A or from triple A to the major leagues? How can you tell, like, when somebody's ready? Is it more their experience, their at bats, or their numbers, or what's kind of that like?
Yeah. So not something that's usually in my purview, but Andy McKay and Jerry and everybody kind of related to the farm system will kind of make that call. I think, one thing that they strive to do, and I think do a good job of, is really individualizing it for the player, making sure the player is, being adequately challenged. I think certainly no hesitancy to move a player up if, the player isn't being challenged enough. And also just, managing a full organization, full of players, and, you have different gaps and holes and, more blockages at some positions, that sort of thing. So I guess I would say, a really case by case basis. And one thing that we really try to do is really focus on, the smaller outcomes and the more process driven things for a given player, trying to move us away from maybe your traditional baseball card stat line into things that, we really preach in terms of, controlling the zone or making quality swing decisions or hard contact, that sort of thing. So those are kind of our, guiding, signs in a way for that sort of thing too.
Yeah.
I'm also curious with the amount of young people that we have on the team and with your job, getting them to really buy into the data analytics and stuff. Is it pretty easy for them to, when you're trying to explain how all that works, is it pretty easy for them to hop on board with that versus maybe, I know we don't have those older major veterans really in the clubhouse. But is it easier to get them to, I guess, kind of jump on board and buy into that stuff?
Yeah, I would say our players are really open to information and really love to, are very curious, really want to improve. And I think, I've always thought of competitiveness and creativity as kind of going hand in hand. If you truly want to do anything to win, you'll be willing to listen to, new ideas and new concepts. So I think, organization wide, all the way up to the big leagues, that's been really true for us. And I think a huge credit to our staff and just, being open-minded, being really good communicators, really, continuing to be curious and continuing to bring, info to players in the way that makes sense for them. So I think, we're really trying to meet players where they're at. For some guys, that means putting a lot of numbers on a piece of paper, but for a lot, it doesn't. And, a lot of the times, the sorts of insights that we might, find or recommend based on what data would show are really similar to what, a scout or a player or a coach would already see, with their eyes. So 90% of the time it's already confirming something, or giving a little more support to something that, somebody might have already been talking about.
And one of the things that we discussed with Jesse Smith was, for the most part, baseball is still, probably a little bit better now these days, but it's still kind of transitioning into this, getting used to, and to Chris's question, right? Like there's still a lot of vets out there that aren't used to accepting or going after certain analytics to change their strategy versus just natural talent. You had mentioned that, and we had read that you joined as an intern in 2018. I mean, when that happened, is this still the case, but are you still trying to figure things out as you go, or are processes a little bit more established and a little bit more like structured, or is it kind of like a situation where you're learning new things every day as far as like building new analytics, building new reports, and then putting them in action and of course, right, the end goal for the Mariners is to get more W's in the win column. But I mean, as far as using these analytics, like, is there, I guess I don't really know what I'm asking, but are you finding that you're kind of making things up as you go, or, for as long as you've been with the M's organization, which is a few years now, is it a little bit more structured?
Yeah. So I guess a lot in there. I guess we're certainly always trying to push the edge, and continue to learn new insights and, create new processes and things like that. But I would say, for our organization and for the league as a whole, I think there's a lot of value in terms of just creating really good systemic processes, and, making a really good individualized player plan system, making reports that track the things that you want your players to focus on rather than the win column, rather than, hits and batting average. And I think really like having those be adopted, all the way through the organization, from your strength coaches to your on-field coaches to the players to, HP to the scouts, everybody. I think that's been something that's been, a push for us. So in my own, I guess, career development, kind of starting with more sort of research-driven stuff and moving a little bit more towards adoption and education of kind of how these things work. That's kind of been my own path. And so I would say, we're really doing both, trying to stay on the cutting edge, but also really doing well the things that we have in place already. And so I think that's been a big strength for us over the past couple of years is having these, really, really strong processes and metrics in place that our players are familiar with. They've got them, all the way from when they're drafted all the way through the big leagues. They know what we're looking for. They know how to be the best player in the best version of themselves.
It's kind of side question I got. All the no hitters happening, it's cool. It's cool to see for the individuals and for the organizations at the time when it happens. Unfortunately, we've been on the wrong side of it twice, but all in all, what's your take? Do you think it's happening too often? It's not as a rare common. It's just not as rare anymore.
Yeah. Certainly been a hot start on the no hitter league front this year.
A little too hot.
Yeah, I think for me as a fan, that might be a little bit too much on the side of pitching. Although I still appreciate a good pitcher's duel. I think that's still fun. I think just as a sport, we're continuing to try to find that balance of what is most entertaining, what's best for the players and the fans both. So as a fan, I would say I'd like to keep them a little bit more rare, certainly when we're on the opposing side of it. But but it'll be interesting to see it play out. I want to give it a full season to look too.
What do you think? So I guess if it stays on this pace and no hitters continue to happen at this rate, there's been talks about maybe moving the mound back or shortening the strike zone. I, for one, think the best call would be moving the mound back. One, it would help limit the no hitters. Pitchers are able to develop their arms at a faster rate just as human beings than we are as our eyes and our reaction times. And so you look at Kevin Pillar getting nailed in the face. He just doesn't have as much time to react to these heaters that are coming in at 90, the high 90s. I don't know what that one was at. But so it kind of goes to the point of, move the mound back to give the hitters more time to hit the ball, but also, maybe as a precautionary, safety thing to give them more time to react to those high heaters coming at their face. And I don't know. I would like to see the mound get moved back, especially if it stays at this rate. And I mean, there's been Bryce Harper took one to the face this year too, right?
Yeah. But before, my take on it, and I'm sure Skylar is totally interested, but I feel like changing that kind of stuff up. You talk about giving the batters more time to react. I mean, that's what makes a major league batter, right? One of the hardest things to do in sports, arguably, is hit a fastball. But to Chris's point, Skylar, I guess, imagine a world where we come out of this season with like 20 no hitters, right? Like, does that, in your opinion, right? Like, obviously this won't necessarily be something that any of us can control, but like, how much does that change your role if something like that were to be implemented?
So, yeah, I guess we're always, trying to stay updated on certain, run environment conditions or conditions of the ball or that sort of thing. So, I think in the end, it probably wouldn't mean a huge drastic shift in the way we would, value players and the strategies we would employ, but it certainly does just kind of tweak the whole environment as a whole.
Yeah.
So I think, as a fan, I think that would kind of be a lot of no hitters.
Yeah.
I guess, up to the greater fan base if they enjoy that or not. But
True.
for me, I think I would like to see more balls in play. And it's always hard to measure the effect of rule changes and equipment changes and that sort of thing. Sometimes the first level effects are really easy to measure, but maybe there's some, unforeseen consequences that are, second or third order effects. So it's tough to do. It's tough to tweak, rules to get the outcomes that you want.
Right.
I got a question I just kind of thought of. I got a minor league ball and I got a major league ball. I got both this year, and as I'm looking at it, the minor league ball, the seams seem a bit bigger and a little bit more thick than on the just that than on the major league one. The major league one just looked like they're closer to being like even flush, I guess, with the leather. Yeah. Is there? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, so I think there have been a number of interesting public studies about sort of difference between minor league and major league balls. But off the top of my head, I do think that, seam height has long been something that's been a difference between the two. Generally,
absolutely,
you'll have lower seams at the major league level. So, I think there are many different sort of aerodynamic effects from that, but generally, it can be harder just to kind of grip the seams and throw a breaking ball, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Skylar, are you from? Correct me if I'm wrong. You're from the Shoreline area.
Correct.
You've been a Mariners fan your whole life.
Pretty much. Yep.
What's it like working for the organization as growing up as a Mariner fan?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, nothing will compare, I think, to sort of childhood fandom and that certain romantic love in that way.
Yeah.
But being able to be a part of the process has been really rewarding too. And I think being, working on something that, my friends and my family care about and are aware of and, can ask me about and participate in has been really rewarding. And just certainly just enlightening to see things behind the scenes, how they actually work. Because obviously there's just so much that you can't see as a fan in terms of the mechanism of the sport and, how different decisions get made. But all in all, it's been great and, a nice way to stay close to home.
So what's the biggest decision you've been involved in that's made the biggest impact?
I know one action you were a part of, Skylar, was the Alex Colomé trade. I think that was kind of your first claim to fame. And if I'm looking at this article, and that was one of the very first things you did. But I'm curious about that too.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun and a pretty cool experience for an intern that was new on the job. Yeah, I think the best and worst parts of the job are that a lot of the best achievements are usually done privately, and so that was kind of a rare exception to that, where there was kind of this public facing thing. But I'd like to think I've made some helpful contributions in terms of how we think about game strategy, how we think about bullpen management or other parts of the in-game competition that are unfortunately secret.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So what about
I guess I would say, generally speaking, one thing that I've enjoyed doing is really being able to break down complicated problems for people that are less analytically inclined or just don't have that background. Right. So I would say a general thing that I've been trying to do, especially in the past couple of years, is really just come up with really, really easy to understand and really, kind of those brain wormy heuristics, thinking about coming up with different terminologies, coming up with different symbols for how to explain, parts of the game or different strategies, that sort of thing. Sorry if that's a little vague, but generally, making things more memorable and making things more understandable and trying to get everybody to get it.
Right.
So can you kind of expand more about why you got interested in pursuing this career, and did you always want to work in the analytics department, and what drove you to being in this position?
Yeah, I mean, I'd always loved baseball and math, each growing up, all the way through elementary school probably. So it wasn't something that I was necessarily pursuing as a career, but kind of the work that I was doing kind of led me to it. So I did a lot of like independent baseball research projects in college, and that kind of took me to the doorstep. So it wasn't, I don't think there was a single moment that really like made me want a career in baseball, but it was something that was always in the back of my mind, and, you know, had the opportunity to apply for a spot. Yeah,
right on.
And then another question I kind of was curious about, Tony La Russa's comments for the White Sox and all that, getting, you know, pissed off that he's swinging at a meatball, you know, 3-0 count. These guys are their livelihood as a hitter. Their livelihood is depicted by, you know, how well they do at the plate. It doesn't matter who's on the mound. And Tony La Russa is coming out talking, you know, like, I completely disagree with everything he said. You got any kind of take on that?
I'm certainly going to fall on the let the kids play sort of the side. You know, it doesn't bother me. I don't think it bothered many people in our organization when Mercedes swung at a pitch. So no, I have no organizational stance, but I mean, I haven't talked to many people that were actually upset by that.
Yeah, I even saw Trevor Bauer tweeted out. He's like completely having his back, and he's like, if I'm gonna throw a 3-0 like meatball, yeah, feel free to swing. Like, you know, it's your job. And I don't know. I just think it's kind of crazy that Tony La Russa is coming out acting like that. But I was just curious to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for the homers. I'm all for the strikeouts. I mean, I think it's fun when players are themselves and get to enjoy it.
So much better. It's so much better because, I mean, you get to see who these guys are. Like, you know, as a fan, as an average fan, you know, you're just looking at what these people are doing on the field. But when we get to see some emotion and some flair that they bring, it just gets, as a fan, you feel like you know that player better, right? Yeah. And that's what I want. I want to be able to connect with these guys, you know, like, and understand who they are. Like, I've heard Seager isn't really out there, but I've heard Seager like in the clubhouse is just hilarious, and like he's messing with people all the time. Like, is that true?
Yeah, I think you have to ask Kyle about that, but you know, he's got a good sense of humor for sure.
That's what I've heard. I'll try to ask him.
He's been around long enough. Hopefully we can get him as a guest.
Yeah, that was cool. He did, and him just taking over the record for most homers at T-Mobile / Safeco.
Yeah,
it was good to see. Absolutely. You know, he's solidified his. He's been a great Seattle Mariners player from my point of view, and maybe it kind of gets swept under the rug a little bit just because the record that we've had and the lack of success that we've had, and so he hasn't appeared that he's been that good, but he's just been so consistent from pretty much, you know, from when we've got him and I personally love the guy. I think Seager's been, you know, an all-time Mariner.
Skylar, one of the last questions I wanted to ask you was, if not the last, but in your own personal opinion, right, without divulging too much of what your team does or where you're headed, I mean, just given where we're at with the season and what we've done so far and what we still have in our back pocket, right? Where do you see the team headed this year and next year? I mean, what are you most excited about? You know, stuff like that. What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I think the same thing I probably would have said coming into the year, which was, you know, really exciting young talent, hopefully developing. And, you know, just seeing players get their first cracks or their second cracks at big league competition is just really exciting. And, you know, I think as Jerry would say, success and production is usually not linear in that way. So just watching guys and, you know, trying to watch someone take that jump is really fun for me. And I think just, you know, kind of more behind the scenes, just the culture of our team, the culture of our staff, the things that we have in place, you know, to keep people improving. And has just been really exciting. And so our buy-in and our, you know, clubhouse culture has been really, really fun to watch. And I think a lot of that, you know, has to do with the youth, and a lot of it has to do with the individual personalities, both, you know, players and coaches, which has been awesome.
Yeah, it's one of the things that Andy McKay said on our show a few weeks ago, and then the other thing that comes to mind, our first episode, we had Dave Sims, and we asked him a similar question. He said something very similar, but he was like, "Look, man, at the end of the day, these prospects, we can be excited about them all we want, but they got to show up and they got to play. But, obviously for young guys that are younger than all four of us, right? Like it might take some getting used to. I mean, not everyone's like Ken Griffey Jr. So is how I look at it, at least.
Very, very few are.
Yeah.
He's one in a million. I was curious. I noticed Jared changed his stance against left-handed pitching. Looked like was that anything that y'all had discussions with? I'm assuming.
Yeah, certainly not me personally, but yeah, I think that was something he was working on. I think that was something that was identified to him as something to continue to work on. So I think that's credit to him. Really talented athlete, really good at making adjustments. So from my point of view, which is mostly a spectator, perhaps getting himself a little more open to the lefties and trying to see the ball well against that.
Yep.
So
cool. Well, Skylar, we'll let you get back to your Friday, man. I really appreciate you joining the show. Shout out to Mickey Greenberg. I'm sure she'll be listening to this, but how do you?
Oh, you know Mickey?
Yeah,
yeah. We
I
went
know
to high
Mickey
school
too.
together.
That's
no way.
That's how we book Skylar.
No way.
Yeah.
That is so funny. I know Mickey. Yeah, that's hilarious.
That's awesome. How do you pronounce your last name?
Shibayama.
Shibayama. Skylar Shibayama, manager of data strategy at the Mariners. Thanks for joining, man. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Another thing I wanted to bring up, Max. I see what Evan's called on the
Baseline Baron.
Yeah, what are you called?
I'm called Sid the Sloth.
Okay, you did recognize it. You did. Okay, I was making sure you recognized.
No,
it.
I did.
I
just hadn't seen the. No, I hadn't seen Baseline Baron yet. But Sid the Sloth, I own that shit, dude.
Yeah, you do, buddy.
Even though I still don't think I look like him, apparently I do.
Oh gosh, the lineup we put out today. You guys see it at all?
Oh my god, my buddy texted me. My buddy texted me a screenshot of the lineup, and I just was like, "Who are these guys?"
They're ones that don't have COVID. Johnny Walton, then our three. Mitch, Kyle. Then Jose Godoy, catcher. Who's
20,000. One record we did break. Not even a record.
Not even just
but at least something worth reporting.
Noting.
Yeah, is Jose Godoy. Maybe we'll get to know him better and I'll master his name if he's good enough. But 20,000th player in Major League Baseball to make a debut. Did I get that right? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He's 20,000th player to play in the MLB.
There have been 20,000 people that have played Major League Baseball.
That's not a lot.
Yeah, I know.
That's not a lot, which is crazy. It sounds like it may sound like a lot, but it's not. It's just not a lot. Think about how many doctors there have been. I don't know. Maybe that's a stretch of a comparison.
Wait, you say, doctors?
Yeah.
There's been a lot. There's a lot of doctors in the world, dude.
Yeah, 20,000 is a small number.
What they do, hopefully, but yeah, 20,000. 20,000 is the number of statistical significance. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And this is over a century of baseball, which is pretty cool.
That's crazy. That's just insane. Wow, good for him.
Well,
I guess.
Yeah, good for him. I guess. We own that record. That belongs to the Mariners organization, Mariners franchise.
Yes, we own a few more.
Another interesting story that happened to me this weekend. I was taking an Uber on the way to Pono Ranch in Ballard. And for the most part, I like my Uber rides to be kind of quiet, unless, I'm feeling myself in the back. But, for the most part, like, it's a service and I just like to keep it quiet. But I had my head down and he noticed my Mariners hat and he was like, this was like halfway through the ride. He was like, "So do you just like the hat or are you an actual baseball fan?" And I go, boy, and I reached for my wallet and I grabbed my card. But no, I didn't. I could look up his name, but it was a really nice rest of the ride. We talked. He's a Yankee fan. He was born and raised in New York, but he moved to Seattle in '93, I think he said. And the Mariners have been his secondary team. So whenever dude, this guy goes into stories about like, oh well, like it's hard. it's hard being a Yankee fan because, and of course I kind of chuckled to myself and I'm like, typical classic Yankee jargon. And he picked up on it and he recognized it. And I was like, well, man, like, I think he was talking about how he missed out on the or they lost the World Series, I think, in God knows when the last, 06, I think he was talking about, or one of those years. And I was like, yeah, man, we'll try not being in the playoffs for 20 years. And, he just was like, well, mad respect to you for doing this podcast then.
Did he took the business card?
He took the card, and I told him I would tell a story about him if he listened to this episode.
Well, yeah, I guess we'll find out if he listens.
We'll find out. Well, I don't know if we will find out, actually.
I don't know. Maybe you'll Uber with him again somehow, some way.
Well, there's a lot more Uber drivers out there.
You don't like talking to your Uber drivers in general?
Like I said, man, it's all contextual. Like if I'm hungover or not even, dude, like if I'm just like on my way to like a bar or, a meetup or something, wherever the hell I'm going, for the most part, it's like nothing needs to be said, or I don't say anything if nothing needs to be said.
I always
That's
hop
just
in.
the
I'm like,
type of
hey,
person,
how's
yeah.
your day going? Oh,
No,
you're from Seattle? I don't know. I talk, man. I'm a talker. I talk when I'm nervous. It's so like I just like don't stop. So I guess
Right.
I wouldn't say I'm like nervous in the Uber. I guess
No.
I just talk to fill silence. I don't like silence. I like talking.
Yeah. I kind of feel it out too. I mean, I obviously ask how they're doing, and if they give back like a lengthy response, then I'm like, oh, okay, this guy likes to talk. But if they're just like, I'm doing good, and then that's it, you're like, all right, you kind of just set the tone for this ride. So
True.
Yeah.
That's how
There's
I approach
nothing
it.
wung with an Uber or a Lyft or any ride that you take being just like a transactional situation. It's like
there
you're
was this
taking
one
me
time.
to A to B.
There was one time back a number of years ago. We were waiting for our Uber outside of a bar, outside of King's in Ballard. Me and I forget who all was with us, but there was a number of us, and we're waiting for the Uber. And up pulls this Hummer limo, decked out in Seahawk stuff.
Yeah, I was there.
We were there, Evan. Okay,
yeah,
that
was dope.
And this guy's like, "Hey, where y'all going?" We're like, "We're going to Magnolia." And he's like, "You waiting on an Uber?" We're like, "Yeah." He's like $10 or whatever. He's like, "I'll drive you there." It was only like a 15-minute ride, and we get in this thing. It's decked out. It had virtual reality in it and everything. The lights were going crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And we were all just on one. It's like 1:30 in the morning. We're just trashed, and like it was the coolest Uber ever. I was like, you my guy. It wasn't an Uber actually. It was a Hummer limo, but that was pretty cool.
That's not something you can order on your phone, is it?
Nah, and if it is, he didn't give us information on how to do it.
I gotta talk about. I just remembered this, and sometimes I think about it. But the first Uber I ever got in, Uber, like the concept of Uber and Lyft, kind of like blew up right around the time that we were wrapping up college. Am I mistaken in that? This was around like 2015. Like the companies were around earlier, right? But like it didn't become mainstream until towards the end of our college tenure. And the first Uber ride I ever got in, I just sat in the front seat. I just was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And the driver, right? Like the driver just kind of looked at me and was like, I guess this can work. But I didn't know like the etiquette of just like sitting in the back. I thought those ride sharing companies were like the new thing to taxi cabs, and taxi cabs, of course, you sit in the back, but it just was as if like a homie of mine was coming to pick me up. So I just sat in shotgun, and I look back on that and I'm just like, I bet you that guy thinks I'm pretty weird. I don't know.
A lot of people think I'm weird. I am weird, but that's okay.
Well,
So I am looking at Russell Wilson's IG story. Apparently he was at the game. He's at the game today
in San Diego.
Yeah, and then I'm seeing like somebody else put up that he was wearing a Padres jersey, but I don't think that was at the same game. I think that was at a game that they weren't playing the Mariners. As I'm reading into these comments, I was about to be pissed. If Russell Wilson was wearing a damn Padres jersey right now. Oh my god!
Honestly, I wouldn't blame him. He belongs to team, dude. dude, he belongs to teams that win. Period.
Screw that, man. I hate bandwagoners unless they come on. No, I hate bandwagoners.
Yeah, maybe.
Stupid. It's stupid. I don't know. I don't hate bandwagoners.
Well,
Hate's a strong word. Hate's a strong word,
is.
because if the Mariners start being good, I'm going to welcome all the bandwagoners.
Of
I'm
course.
not going to
with open arms.
with open arms. I'm not going to be that guy who's like, oh, screw you. You said that they suck.
Yeah.
Oh. Like, no, hop on the train. Come on. Welcome aboard. I told you. Choo choo.
Yeah, I told you. One of these days, be it in our young adulthood or old wrinkly grandpa days, we'll be able to say, I told you.
Yeah. And I want to just tell, it's not as bad on like Instagram or Twitter, the shit talking that goes towards the Mariners when they're doing like really bad. But if y'all go to Facebook and you join some of these Mariner groups on Facebook, it's these old timers, and they're just like, they're so negative in every aspect, like fire service. Oh, screw Jerry DiPoto. It's like, oh, these players suck. It's like, I mean, yeah, they're young as hell. They're not doing well. You're right. They do suck, but like, they're all just like, I want to quit this team. Like, I hate this team. It's like, you sound so sorry. It's like, chill out, man. It's baseball. It's not going to kill you. It might kill, might kill me. I've had that thought before. But
two things on that. Number one, as a kid watching the Mariners growing up, and my dad and my mom can both attest to this, to my behavior as a kid, watching the Sonics, watching the Mariners, watching the Seahawks. One point or one thing goes wrong, like early in the game, like I would turn the TV out. I'd be like, I'm done. We lost.
Oh, you are the worst.
No, I'm not, man. Look at where I'm at now. I sit through most of the games if they're good enough. But like, I remember even like a sport like basketball, Sonics would be down 20-10. And I'd be like, oh, we're done.
Oh, basketball is different. That's a stupid approach right there, because basketball is a game of runs. Baseball is more like if you're down, it's going to be a tough climb back up. Because it's less of a.
Well, I'm just saying, I didn't really distinct. There was no real distinction in my attitude between any of the sports.
That's just how we're losing. I'm done.
Yeah, dude. But here I am doing a podcast for arguably the worst baseball team in recent history.
No, Max, we are doing a podcast for the legitimate worst franchise in all of sports history.
Oh, there we go.
And that is undeniable.
I was afraid I overstepped my boundaries.
Oh, no, you didn't step through them enough.
But that's what makes our brand so unique, is like,
True.
you have like all these other great, franchises, and people want to be like, talk great about them, but so like we're one of the few. And then
that's a good point.
Like you're saying, once this takes a turn and we already got this momentum built, then people are going to hop on board and want to keep listening. But like for us to start it from the scratch and go through the trenches, it shows that, we're really down for this and we're going to keep it going. So
I agree.
I just like talking with you guys, honestly.
Yeah. The second point that I was going to make on all those Facebook posts was, not only was I one of those negative Nancy's, but I was a kid, mind you. So the second thing is, one thing I will take into account is these old hags that are on Facebook and whatever. They went through the glory days of the Mariners, so they have more of a right, I guess, to, or like we can allow them to be negative, right? Because they saw our team go from jack shit to a brilliant, few years in a row, massive potential, back down to indecisiveness and frustration and blah blah blah. So I will say this though, it is so much so much easier to be negative than be hopeful.
Yeah, sure. It is. It can be. For me, I'm going to be the hopeful guy. And
you do a great job at that.
Thank you. But to your point about these old hags having more of an excuse to be upset and to act the way they do on Facebook behind their computer screens.
Here we go.
They are the ones that should know that we almost lost this team. They are the ones that should understand that the baseball shouldn't exist in Seattle. And so I argue with that knowledge being at the forefront of them going through that experience of almost losing baseball in Seattle, we obviously didn't. I argue against your last statement with that fact.
That's fair enough. No, I hear you, and that's why some people just choose that easy route of being negative versus. It
isn't. It's a much easiadr route. It is. Okay, you're right.
So it's so much easier to be like, oh, like the Mariners suck, and I'm not gonna. And admittedly, like this is what I would do sometimes with the Mariners, right? Because I don't really have a choice. Because we have put a lot of energy into watching this team suffer, and it takes a lot out of you because you want the best. We want the best for them, but it was all too easy to be like, well, we're 21-6 now. We just want to own 6. There goes the rest of our season, or like. I don't want to spend time. They're going in a bad direction. I don't want to, spend my time waiting for them to turn it around. Right. Like,
but that's what will make it so
exactly
sweet for all those people that don't want to wait. That
is the ROI of being a Mariner fan.
Damn, that's nice. The return on investment, ladies and gentlemen.
What we are doing is a hefty investment.
Well, it's a good way to like how Chris talked about the last few episodes that we aren't expected to make the playoffs. So instead of like treating it as wins and losses, just enjoy the moments that are coming, with the young prospects and just hoping Kelenic can, I know he's still figuring it out and all that, but there's going to be some bright spots there with his first home run or first hit as a home run, which is cool to see. So it's just moments like that you got to appreciate. And so it's a long season, so it'll be good.
We called Kelenic up way too early.
Well,
I'm totally around.
Oh, dude. I was like, we spent 6 episodes being like, why haven't we called him up? Dude, okay, good. That's a great joke.
Thank you.
Round of applause for this, man. That's great.
That was pretty good. I got to toot my own horn for that one.
Yeah. Before we sign off for this week, we've got a full week of baseball ahead of us. We've got 7 games. And we finally get to
7 games. I haven't even looked at the schedule. I'm gonna be honest, listeners, and Max and Evan. I was pretty poor about being able to watch the Mariners the most of this week. Just had some other stuff going on. Example for today, it's life, brother. That's life, brother. But I was getting them updates on the phone and ouch. Stuff, and I was like not pissed that I didn't see these games. So it was but I haven't even taken a look at the. Oh yeah. So
we finally get to face the A's,
and I'm not excited as I thought I was going to be because we have so many guys not in the lineup. Ty France could be back tomorrow, so that could be good. But Oakland and Texas, a battle of the division, baby. The Wild Wild West is coming alive. We get to go to the old POS Coliseum, which could fall down while we're playing. Who knows? Because that thing is so damn old. And Oakland knows. Oakland is on the hot seat. They are on the hot seat because they need to get a new stadium. Else they're
dude. I think they're going to come to Vegas actually.
So if they go to Vegas, so if Oakland goes to Vegas. Are they in the AL West?
Yeah,
they still are. Yeah,
they would
for sure.
Yeah,
because the Raiders, the Raiders are still in the AFC West. So
okay. Well, that's a quick answer.
Well, wait, why? Do we know why everyone in Oakland is dropping ship and just going to Las Vegas?
What? Good question.
Because it's a desert and you can just keep building and building, but it's with the Golden Knights and how they should prove that they could thrive in the city. It's not just because the whole thing was when they were hesitant about bringing, a professional team to Vegas was, it's just all gambling and it's just tourists. But, it's bigger than just that. And you have like a big fan base and, they got all these casinos that are willing to build a big ass stadium. Like the Raiders one, they have like one of the nicest stadiums in the NFL.
It's so nice. It looks like the Death Star.
It's so nice. But I just found out that season tickets for Raiders game is $50,000.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So one thing
Yeah.
I think people didn't really understand, and I'm definitely one of those people, is before like Vegas had these sports teams, I'm wondering if one of the major concerns of going to Vegas as a sports team and building a franchise in Vegas was the concern that there weren't as many locals in the area.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
maybe not the concern, just
right.
the illusion that there weren't as many locals because it's like a Sin City. You know, you're going there. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. You're there.
Yeah.
You leave.
Well, yeah.
But Chris,
like,
you lived there for a few months and you saw. I mean, it's bigger than just the Strip, so I think they can make it work. And they also have the A's AAA affiliate out here, and they have a nice ballpark in Summerlin, and they always sell out that park, and so it can happen. But I'm just curious how they're going to try to build that play baseball in the summer when it's going to be 115 degrees, every single day from June to July.
Would that be the only stadium with like a roof? So
it's got to be, because that's how they do it in Phoenix with the Diamondbacks. They have a roof and all that, so I think that's how you got to play. But the Aviators, they play all their home games at night because it's just too hot to do it during the day, which is pretty interesting. But Vegas is proven to be a big sports town, which is pretty. I never thought that'd be it. 5-10 years ago, but
I guess more.
Cool.
I guess
It's
I
cool.
think also the thing that Max was asking in that question is like, why are they leaving Oakland though? Like, why is Oakland getting shafted? Why are all their teams going to Vegas?
Well,
because the city doesn't want to build them a new stadium, and they've been in the Coliseum for how many years? And the Raiders wanted a new stadium, they weren't going to give it to them, and so I think now that they're starting to put their foot down, I think now it's in the city council's hands for Oakland to be like, all right, well, if we're going to keep them here, we got to like put our money where it's going to be, or, and you saw now with the Raiders and what happened in Vegas, that Vegas can easily do it. So it doesn't matter if they want to keep it there or not, but
One other thing I wanted to bring up before we do sign off as well is, so we all saw, what's his face get pegged in the face, Kevin Pillar. Kevin Pillar got
from the
beamed.
Mets.
Yeah, dude. So I saw something that he was on the ground for 36 seconds, got up off his own power, and he was all good. And then let's segue to another sport, basketball.
Well, hold on. Before we go to basketball,
no, I ain't done yet.
Joe Burrow.
What about Joe Burrow?
Joe Burrow. He tore his ACL and something else, and he was on the ground for 47 seconds.
Okay.
And
how long was LeBron James on the ground after getting poked in the eye by Draymond Green?
I counted 80 seconds.
It was 80 seconds, and he's down there looking like he's crying, and like it's like you could have created your own Michael Jordan meme face with what was going on there. But he gets poked in the eye, and this guy's like on the ground and crying and all this stuff. And meanwhile, we get these two, Joey B and Kevin Pillar, getting smacked. There's an ACL, and then Kevin Pillar's face is all fucked up. He just looked terrible, but he looked like the absolute man because he's doing what he does. Baseball players are tough. LeBron James is supposed to be tough. He comes out, oh man, that shot that he had, the game winner. He's like, oh, I was seeing 3 rims. I just shot for the middle one. It's like, shut up, LeBron.
Yeah,
you sound so stupid.
And he was spitting the story that because his ankle has been messed up, but he's like, oh yeah, I've just been playing on one foot, these last few weeks. And it's like, no, like LeBron. You're LeBron James for sure.
I respect. He's the GOAT of our generation, without a doubt. He's the GOAT of our generation. As being 27 years old.
I was gonna say, you guys can sit LeBron James down, but I hear what you're saying. You guys can sit him down. I can't talk trash on the GOAT. I just can't.
No,
and I'm not the biggest basketball guy, but I mean,
are you calling him the GOAT of all time? Just out of curiosity, of ever?
What, in the sport of basketball?
Yeah. So I don't think we can. I think
LeBron over MJ.
I don't. Right. No. Well, it's okay. That's fine, but it's not. It's not, because you can't compare generations.
Yeah,
you
fine.
just can't.
Okay,
you can only compare the GOAT of this generation. That's
I get it.
To Stephen Curry and to everybody else, and you can compare Michael to Larry Bird and Magic and everybody else.
Then why is the question that has been going on for so many years LeBron or Michael Jordan?
Because people want something to argue about that has no answer. It has no answer. There's no right or wrong answer except for the one that I'm saying, which is you can't compare the two generations. That's the right answer. The two generations cannot be compared. Both of them are GOATs in each of their own generation. That's it. That's what I got to say. But Back on track, baby. Yes, Oakland A's, first 3 games, Monday through Wednesday, and then we got a 4-gamer against them Rangers. We host them, Texas Rangers, and hopefully we can get our pistols out and shoot them down, all 4 ducks in a row.
Chris, I say this with love. You're a dumbass.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. I do.
No, Chris, you're smart. You're just a goofball.
I'm a smart ass, is what I am.
Yeah, you're a smart ass. You're a real wise guy.
Yeah, but this is going to be finishing out. Oh, man, it's funny. We had the toughest April in terms of strength of schedule, and we had the hardest schedule, and we did very well in April. May, we've had a pretty somewhat easy schedule, and we have shit the bed. We have been bad, but Oakland's going to be a doozy. Texas, I don't even know what's going to happen. Hope for the best, and let's continue to watch these guys try and progress as we hope for the best, and do their thing. It'll be fun to see, and I don't know. I hope it'll be fun to see. I hope we can hope we can do good. I hope. The resistance.
We're not making any predictions before we. Yeah, it was. We're not making any predictions before we sign off. So good luck, everyone.
No predictions, but
make your own predictions. Send us your predictions.
Send us your predictions. We want to know what y'all think. Let's see what the gallery, not the
dugout.
I'm sorry, the dugout. Let's see what the dugout has to say. Come on, speak up, listeners. Speak up. We want to hear what your thoughts are.
We hope you've enjoyed us talking. Enjoyed the interview with Skylar. Skylar, thanks a lot for coming on. We're signing off today on May 23rd, Sunday, on a Monday, the 24th. Have a great week, folks. We love you. Take care of each other. And Chris and Evan, I love you.
Love you too. Hey,
I'll be back.
One last thing. Go Mariners.
Go Mariners.
Go Mariners.